Hi, I'm Matt Williams from Winemakers Academy over at winemakersacademy.com, and tonight is the fourth and final session in our kit winemaking series, bottling. So to this point, we have fermented the grape juice, we have stabilized it, clarified it. It has sat for the past 14 days, pretty much untouched. I did come down this morning to check on the clarity of the wine. I took a sample and it has cleared out nicely and is ready for bottling. Normally you would bottle just straight from here into the bottles. However, in our directions it says that if you plan to age the wine for more than 6 months, then you need to add some extra potassium metabisulfate, which is how we add sulfur dioxide to the wine. That extra sulfur dioxide is going to help keep anything from happening once the wine has been bottled. So it will prevent further fermentations, any other sorts of chemical processes, malolactic fermentation. This will kill off anything else that's left so that we can keep this wine for a long time. My plan for this wine is to consume it over the next 3 years so that I can get a feel for how the wine will age as time goes by. So to get started, I'm going to make up a solution of the potassium metabisulfite and put it into my primary fermenter. I'll then use the racking cane and tube to transfer the wine from the carboy into the primary fermenter. That process will mix in the potassium metabisulfite into the wine nice and thoroughly, and from there I can use the racking cane and a bottle filling tool to go from the primary fermenter into the 30 bottles. So at this point, we've racked our wine from the empty carboy here into our primary fermenter where we had the potassium metabisulfite solution. And I've filled quite a few bottles at this point, but just to show you how this works, I've got a nice clear bottle so you can see everything. This is my racking cane and tube that we use to rack, and on this end I have an attachment for filling bottles. It's kind of like the Wine Thief with the valve on the bottom. You put it into the bottle, and when that valve is depressed, it opens the flow of wine. As the bottle fills and it gets towards the top, all you have to do is lift up on this and it will shut off the flow of the wine so that when you remove it, you have enough space left for the cork. And I can't hold this too much higher because we're going to lose siphon on here. But at this point it's filling, and as soon as I lift up, it stops filling. And you probably can't see that very well, but that valve shuts off as soon as I lift this wand off of the bottom of the bottle. And this is how we fill it. So here's one of the bottles that we filled, and we're going to go ahead and put a cork in here. This is one that I've previously corked. So this is a hand corker. They have floor corkers, they have both bigger and smaller corkers than this, but this is the one that came with my equipment kit. And the process here is to take your cork and we're going to dip it real quick in a sanitizing solution so that we don't get anything funky in there, and then dip it in some clean water just to rinse it off. On our hand corker, you raise the handles all the way up and just load it in this little chamber right over top of the bottle, and then you just come down with those handles. You see that there is a bit of cork left over at the top here, and what you can do is put your corker back on and press down on this pretty hard. One thing you need to watch out for though is pressing too hard. On a couple of mine, I guess I got a little overexcited, and the cork actually came down probably about 1/2 inch into the bottle further than it should. And what you risk there is the cork going inside the wine. I think mine are going to be okay, but it's just something you really want to watch for. But this is how you go from your stabilized and clear wine into a bottled wine. From this point, what you want to do is keep the bottles vertical for 3 days, and that lets the cork seal nice and tight. And then after 3 days, you can lay the bottles on their sides which you want to do to keep the corks moist so they don't dry out over time, and that's for long-term storage. You see that I've got a clear bottle here with a red wine. Typically you don't see that. However, this gives me a nice view into my wine over time so that I can make sure it's not turning brown or anything like that. And I'm also going to be storing this in complete darkness. Otherwise, you would want a darker bottle, brown or green, if you're going to store this where any sort of sunlight can get to it. And with that, this concludes our series on kit winemaking, and there'll be more to come. If you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them on this post or give me an email at matt@winemakersacademy.com. And thanks for watching.